Greetings to you. I'm Brother James Muhammad, a student in the ministry of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and your host for this week's segment of Closing the Gap broadcast. Now, I am experiencing a serious echo on my end. I hope that's not being transferred to you who are listening. Can you hear the echo of Brother Chaz, Mr. Stoller?
It's like a
Brother Kendrick?
I hear a little bit of an echo.
It's a little bit of echo, but we can clearly hear you.
Yes.
We can clearly hear what you're saying.
It's pretty bad on my end, but what I'll do is I'll open up the show and then I'll go off and come back and try to correct.
Yes, sir.
We want to welcome all of you to our broadcast, and we thank Almighty God Allah for those of you who regularly attend and support the broadcast. And of course, we're very hopeful that there will be some who will be attending and participating for their first time. For those who regularly attend the broadcast, you know that we always open invoking the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, the one God to whom all praise is due, Lord of the world. We thank Almighty God Allah for his merciful and prophetic intervention in our affairs in the person of Master Father Muhammad, and we thank him for raising up from our midst his messenger, Messiah, the exalted Christ, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, through whom we have been given our beloved and blessed Redeemer, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It is to these men that we are deeply grateful and highly honored for this wonderful privilege and opportunity to present to you all who are listening and viewing this platform from which and through which we can share some of the messages of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan through and by his profound students. And of course, we have guests that are local and from the neighborhood, but the basis of which we offer is the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And so in their name, I'm very happy to greet all of you with the greeting words of peace, welcoming you once again to the show. We greet you, Assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you. Now, what I will do is try to correct this echo that I'm hearing. So I'm going to leave and inshallah, hopefully return. I'm going to turn the broadcast over to our wonderful co-host, Student Minister Chad Muhammad of Mosque number 47, and my dear sister, our dear sister, Salah Muhammad, the managing editor of the Final Call newspaper, the greatest paper that has ever been published by the greatest publisher, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And so, inshallah, I will return, hopefully correcting this echo. Assalamu alaikum.
Brother James.
Yes, sir.
Before you leave, we see that you are on twice down bottom. So
Okay.
maybe that is the problem, because we see.
It may very well be.
Yes.
I'm going to remove myself.
Okay, let me see. Okay.
All right. I think it's no, still a little.
Let's mute the other one. Okay, try it now.
Okay.
What you sound like?
Oh, assalamu alaikum. Still a little slight echo. Let me leave then come back.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Praise be to
And meanwhile, continue with the show.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. Once again, family, we thank those that are tuning in to Closing the Gap, whether it's your first, second, or third time. We are dealing with an important subject matter tonight, as always, and very interesting. We think those that's tuning in will really enjoy it. And we're dealing with weathering the storm through patience and prayer. Our tonight guest, which we'll have some more soon on, is from the area, the Bay Area. So it's my backyard, you know, where Mosque 47 is. Also, we have Mosque 95, that's in St. Pete. And then we also have our dear brother, Sister Brenda, and Brother Kendrick, that's on from Clearwater. So, of course, we recently been through 2 storms that kind of came back to back, one worse than the other. And it affected our area very much. And you know, it was very damaging. We thank Almighty God, Allah, that no loss of life from the believers. Those who was in evacuation area got a chance to evacuate. But, you know, we're going to tell our side of the story and also the preventative measures, because just as some, you know, you experience up north, the snow you experience as far as blizzards and those -degree weather. Well, in this area, we have what's called hurricane seasons.
Right.
And it's like every year we can look forward to those dancing, swirling tornadoes and hurricanes coming through and whatnot. So, you know, we have to see some preventative measures that we can help to prepare ourselves as it comes yearly. So our guests for tonight are not only those that have experienced the hurricane, but also have expertise in dealing with the hurricane also. So, you know, we have something special for you, most definitely going on tonight, and look forward to sharing with y'all. Sister Starlight, you know, we're thankful for the final call for doing such a wonderful job and covering it from afar, you know, and it's something, you know, because back to back that we've been in the final call, you know, talking about what's been happening and going on in Florida with the hurricane. So most definitely, dear sister, we thank you and the final call staff for covering it by Allah's grace. Yes, man. So I just want to also,
all,
you know, turn it over to you.
Allah.
Yes.
All praises to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. Also, just want to, you know, turn it over to our dear sister, Sister Starla, too, for any opening remarks also that you would like to share as we get ready to get into this powerful subject matter. All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Chad, and welcome to our Closing the Gap viewing and listening audience. Welcome again to another powerful episode. And you said it right, Student Minister Chad. Such a timely topic, weathering the storm, patience and prayer. And of course, we know there's the physical aspect of storms when we're talking about, you know, weather and things of that nature. But, you know, when we talk about other storms that we may be faced with in individual circumstances, whether it's, you know, trials that we are going through, you know, spiritual trials with family members. So this is a very timely subject indeed. And as usual, I'd like to just encourage our viewing and listening audience, any questions that you have this evening for any of our guests, to make sure you type your questions in the chat, and we will strive to get through as many of those questions as we can. But thank you once again for joining us this evening, and looking forward to a powerful, powerful dialogue and sharing and hearing from our wonderful guests.
Praise be to Allah. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We also have joining us our dear sister Nayyirah, and Brother Dawood. We did see you one time, but now you went out. Oh, there you go.
We here.
Praise be to Allah. That's wonderful.
I don't know what's going on with the screen. Can y'all see us?
Yeah, we can. We can see y'all.
Okay, well, we see y'all, but we don't see ourselves. But it's all good. We can't see ourselves, but you know, it's all good. We don't need to see ourselves. I can hear myself. That's the most important thing.
That's right.
Okay,
that's
there
right.
we go. There we
That's
go.
Right. Okay, there you go. Yeah, y'all look beautiful. We most definitely is very thankful for y'all being here tonight. Student Minister James is having a little technical problem, inshallah. He should be on very soon also, so we look forward to him being on. But we welcome y'all. You know, we was just opening up, letting the people know about, you know, we have dealt with 2 hurricanes back to back and the effects of them. And, you know, just sharing up how it is, you know, like in this Florida area, we deal with them. We have seasons, you know, so the seasons come, you know, we have to like, oh man, go one. Then the next thing you know, we get through one and be like, oh, it's one over there in the Gulf. It's one over there, you know, in the Atlantic. We just see them like, oh, they're coming. So most definitely, you know, so we thank y'all for your expertise and for being on the show. And for those like I say, you know, we have those from my brother Kendrick and his wife is from Clearwater. We have Sister Nayyirah and Brother Dawu from the great city of St. Petersburg, Mosque 95. And then we also waiting and anticipating our dear brother Michael Shabazz from the city of Tampa and Mosque number 47. So we welcome. Good to see you back, Student Minister James.
Yes, sir. Is the echo corrected?
I don't hear
me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
You can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can.
All praises due to Allah. Very good. Now, I have the bios of both Sister Nayyirah and our dear brother Dawood. Do you want me to read them or should we just proceed?
Yeah, that'll be great. I think we should read the bios, of course.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
All right. Assalamu alaikum, Sister
Nayyirah,
Brother Dawood.
Good to see you, sir. All praises due to Allah.
Yes, sir. Good to see you as well.
All praises due to Allah. All right. It gives me great pleasure to read this bio. I don't really believe I need a bio with my sister. I've known her for many years. And we served together very closely in the capacity of student minister and student sister captain. I know my brother very, very well, but we want to be professional in this. So we will read the bios, beginning with our dear sister Nayyirah Muhammad. Sister Nayyirah Tavika Muhammad is a visionary leader and the founder of Repair of the Black Family. She is also a devoted follower of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, student MGT and GCC sister captain emeritus of Muhammad Mosque number 95. As a dynamic keynote speaker, international 3-time best-selling author, spiritual advisor, and master retreat leader, she inspires and motivates those she serves to achieve total transformation through her purpose-driven life. Sister Nayyirah specializes in helping. Hold on for a second. I'm sorry. So my screen is going crazy here. Sister Nayyirah specializes in helping individuals focus on guiding women to heal intentionally, emphasizing her motto, heal on purpose. She has spoken to thousands of people and collaborated with various faith-based organizations, youth groups, community leaders, volunteers, and schools. Trained as a certified speaker under Les Brown, Sister Nayyirah has empowered many men, women, and families to attain optimal health by improving the spirit, mind, and body. Her mission is to help restore the customs and beliefs of the Black family while working towards a universal government where peace prevails, regardless of class, creed, or color. Welcome, our dear sister Nayyirah, to our broadcast. We're very honored to have you here. All praises due
to Allah. I'm super excited about being here.
All praises due to Allah. All right. And then, of course, her beloved husband who accompanies her, our dear brother, David Muhammad, actually It's Daoud Muhammad in Arabic. I've
That's
known
right.
him for many, many years as well. It's an honor to have you also. Let me read the bio. David Muhammad, or Daoud Muhammad, co-founder of Repair of the Black Family. He is a dedicated father of 5 children, 3 girls and 2 boys, all of whom are my nieces and nephews. I say that very proudly. And 9 grandchildren, and a happy wedded husband for 25 years in marriage with Nayyirah Muhammad. David served 4 years in the United States Military Armed Forces. He taught history and English in Pinellas County and Manatee County schools as an 11th and 12th grade teacher, and was also a dean of students for 2 years. With his training, he developed a successful mentoring program for young males entitled Male, Man, Mind, Mentoring in the High Schools. While studying and practicing alternative solutions for mental health, he has taught and trained men and for 13 years in the Nation of Islam as a first lieutenant. David is now an author and has helped hundreds of professionals and business owners scale and improve their business conditions by helping them to improve their management, administration, and organization of their businesses to make millions using the Hubbard administrative and management technology. His aim and focus is to help his people eliminate generational trauma, irrational behavior patterns, organize the unorganized, and help and equip as many people with the necessary materials to win in the game of life as he builds a legacy of intention for his wife and his family. Welcome, welcome, my dear brother.
Thank you, Brother Minister.
Very happy to see you. We're always happy to see our longtime brother and friend. All praise is due to Allah. Welcome to the broadcast.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother.
Now, we also are blessed to have in attendance as our esteemed guest, our dear brother Kendrick Muhammad, and his wife, his beloved wife, Sister Brenda. Now, I had a problem printing their bios. So what I can do is I can absent myself and again turn it over to our esteemed co-hosts while I'm printing their bio. I have to go to another screen. Sure. I'm going to beg your pardon, those of you in the viewing and listening audience, but we want to extend the proper introductions and presentations of our people. So, Brother Chad, Sister Stala, as they say in Star Trek, you have the calm.
Brother James, while you getting if you could just go and get Brother Kendrick's, I can read Sister Brenda Muhammad's while you're doing that.
All right, very good.
Praise be to Allah. Alhamdulillah. All right. Our dear Sister Brenda is a dedicated mental wellness advocate, experienced teacher for at-risk students, program coordinator, healthcare administrator, and a seasoned community advocate. As the co-owner of AC Autonomous Security Agency, LLC, alongside her husband, Brother Kendrick Muhammad, she combines her expertise in education, mental health, and security with a strong commitment to community safety and empowerment. With hands-on experience in political campaigns, event planning, and grassroots organizing, our dear Sister Brenda brings a unique blend of leadership and empathy to all her endeavors.
Right.
Balance her role as mother, as a wife, as a mighty MGT, deeply passionate about supporting others and creating positive change in her community and abroad. Our dear Sister Brenda, we welcome you for the first time to close on as a guest on Closing the Gap. Welcome and assalamu alaikum, dear sister.
Wa alaikum salam. All praises due to Allah indeed. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for having me.
All praises due to Allah. It is our great honor and privilege. All praises due to Allah. Well, we're back with our brother's bio in hand.
Yes.
By Allah's grace. Well, everything in their initial stages have problems. But again, mistakes do not exist in Islam. So not that we won't make mistakes, but we'll correct them so quickly. It'll be like they never existed. All praises due to Allah. And so let me introduce to some and present to others Brother Kendrick via this his bio. Brother Kendrick Muhammad has a BS in Criminal Justice Administration from Columbia College. He is 20 years in the security industry. 20 years of community service to nonprofits, businesses, and organizations. His technical and security skills help to enhance his ability to be well-rounded in the information technology industry and in the physical security industry. These combined skills make him unique, knowledgeable, and able to assist in both industries. Because of the advancement in technology and future projection of IT, Kendrick remains abreast of the latest trends in technology, such as blockchain protocols, artificial intelligence, autonomous systems, and cryptocurrencies. His ability to adapt and adjust to trends in technology helps him to continue his technical skills and talents. Along with these skills, his organizational skills have assisted with the local community organizations, nonprofits, and new business startups. He is an entrepreneur by spirit and has owned a security agency for many years. His passion and purpose are helping others tapping into their true potential. He offers his skills and talents and insight for the betterment of all mankind to enhance business and nonprofits, but most of all, the untapped potential in the youth. He stands readily available to assist when called upon. Brother Kendrick Muhammad, the owner of 8C Autonomous Security Agency, LLC, is a highly accomplished individual with a remarkable background in the security industry and a strong commitment to community service. With a bachelor's degree in criminal justice administration from Columbia College, Kendrick's educational foundation has greatly contributed to his success. With an impressive 20-year tenure in the security industry, Kendrick has developed an extensive knowledge and expertise in various aspects of security. His practical experience has allowed him to refine his technical and security skills, making him a well-rounded professional in both the information technology, IT, and physical security domains. Kendrick's ability to navigate the complexities of these industries enables him to provide innovative and effective solutions that meet the evolving needs and challenges of his clients. Beyond his professional achievements, Kendrick has dedicated 20 years of his life to community service, actively engaging with both for-profit and nonprofit businesses and organizations. His passion lies in helping others unlock their true potential, and he tirelessly works to uplift and empower individuals and communities. Kendrick's commitment to the betterment of humanity is evident in his dedication to supporting youth and fostering untapped potential. Finally, with a unique blend of technical security and community engagement skills, Kendrick Muhammad stands as an invaluable asset to the security industry and the wider community. His passion for helping others, combined with his extensive experience and expertise, positions him as a catalyst for positive change. Kendrick's unwavering dedication to enhancing businesses, nonprofits, and the untapped potential in youth showcases his commitment to making a lasting impact on society as a whole. So welcome.
Thank
brother.
you, sir.
Thank you.
So I'm like,
all praises due to Allah. Wow, what an esteemed guest. Now I see here my brother who is peeking in. He's squinting. Put your glasses on, Brother Michael. This is our dear brother. Now, I don't have a bio, Brent. I really don't need a bio, but he has great accomplishments. He is an invaluable asset to Muhammad Mosque number 47. Of course, in the position of student secretary of the mosque, but he's also what I refer to as the realtor to the stars being the members of the Nation of Islam. And I must say very personally, he helped my wife and I get our first home. All praises due to Allah, and I want to publicly thank him for that. All praises due to Allah.
Yes.
Brother Michael now has undertaken another talent and skill as an insurance adjuster.
Right.
Now, he is college educated, and there's so much more. Brother Michael, I don't have your bio. You can blame your student minister for that. He didn't send me no. He figured we knew each other so well, but we don't want to be unprofessional, but there is a wealth of information and help that you are responsible for to, of course, the members of Muhammad Mosque number 47, but an innumerable amount of people in Florida in your capacity as a realtor. And now you are increasing that help in your capacity as an insurance adjuster. So
yes, sir.
I'll and of course, he's my brother and my friend. Long time brother and friend and nephew.
Sir.
You all figure out how that works. And welcome to the show, Brother Michael. You're not a stranger to Closing the Gap broadcast. He is a member of the network, Closing the Gap Broadcast Network. He is, I still refer to him as the production manager, although he tried to run from that, but we still call upon him for any problems we may have. And those flyers that you see advertising our program, we thank Almighty God, Allah, for him. He is the designer and producer of those flyers. So we have a wealth of talent, skills, and sources of information on the show tonight. And since I've done a lot of talking, I'm going to take my I'm not leaving the show anymore, but I'm going to take a sip of water, and I'm turning this over to Sister Stala and to Student Minister Chad Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam.
Walaikum salam.
Brother Chad, you can go ahead if you would like to lead us off.
Okay, no problem at all. Okay, so in this area, we have dealt with a couple of the storms that have came back to back, one more than the other, with the storm of Milton, the Hurricane Milton. Since we have on this show, our distinguished guest is from the different cities in this Bay Area. If we could, just on the physical aspect, along with some, along with some of the mental stress that we have seen in our city. If we was to give a brief report, of course, Sister Nayyirah and Brother Dawood from St. Petersburg, our dear Brother Kendrick and Sister Brenda from Clearwater, and then also Brother Michael from Tampa. If we could just touch on that, from what we experience in our city, what we have seen with maybe relatives, if ourselves had to evacuate, and just the mental strain, anything that we have experienced along with the members of the original family and those of our own community in our city. And if we could start off with Sister Nayyirah and Brother David from St. Petersburg. Then we could go to our dear brother and sister from Clearwater. Then we'll lastly come from Tampa.
Yes, sir. All praises due to Allah. Thank you so very much for the question. As it relates to these particular storms that we had to face, I want to say this first is I remember the hurricane that I only been through one hurricane that had a lasting impression on me. And that was when I was a little girl, Hurricane Elena came through. And everybody was scrambling around trying to get ready for Hurricane Elena. And I was about maybe 7 or 8 years old. Since then, and I'm 51, we've had many threats of different hurricanes. However, I do not recall a direct hit the way we have experienced with these last 2 hurricanes. With Hurricane Helena, we was able to sit through the storm and we was able to watch that storm come through. And I could truly say for myself personally, it was just an experience. When Milton came, the energy was different. For me, I felt the storm or the impact of the storm come before it was actually hit it. Meaning, not physically, Brother Student Minister Chad and our guest that's listening, but mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And I said to those who were around me and are around me, I said, for me, I'm not necessarily concerned physically, but I am truly concerned about the aftermath of the storm. After Milton was over, I went back to my city because I was in Clearwater. I went back to my city. And I'm going to tell you, my heart, I'm still recovering emotionally, if that makes sense. I've never driven through my city and seen big oak trees. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5. Throughout the city, big old oak trees uprooted from the ground. What's the light? What's the power lines?
Yes, and
down throughout the city. It looked like a desert. It looks like a desert. There's still the aftermath of decay in the city where trees are dying off. It's so much decay that it's not enough people to clean up. Our city is a city of recovery. Like, we live in St. Petersburg. It's considered one of the beautiful cities. Yeah. Riding through that city has emotionally impacted me. My parents is not able to live in their home to this day. They live on the island. Granted, they've never evacuated for a hurricane. Wow. This time they evacuated and their home is unlivable. My sisters, like everyone, experienced some form of impact as it relates to this hurricane, or in particular, Milton. But as a person that's mentally, I would say I'm mentally sound, emotionally sound, and spiritually sound. I had to remind myself that I'm in present time. We have been seeing, or it has been, we are being taught by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad of the fall of America. And what I have witnessed and experienced personally is the fall, to the degree where I'm directly affected by it. But as we are experiencing this, the one thing that came to my mind is that the righteous will be affected right along with the unrighteous. And so for me, I have to continue through this process to seek refuge in Allah as I work, not just for myself, not just for my family, but to help other people get through the loss emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and physically. Y'all know this song, right? It's a heavy load. But for the righteous, the load is not so heavy where we don't have the strength to bear as long as we keep asking Allah for guidance. So it was and it is for me still very impactful, but I'm a witness bearer to what is happening of what we're going through in this time. Praise be to Allah. So that's what I want to say.
Praise be to Allah.
Allahu Akbar. Thank you. Anything additional from you, Brother Dawood?
I would just like to concur with what my wife has already stated, Brother Chad, and you know, she's right on it. The people, though, have definitely experienced a lot of loss,
right?
And it does have that effect on you when you're driving through the city, where you see still piles and piles and piles of debris just on the side of the roads, you know, waiting to be discarded. Is something that, you know, we haven't really taken on here in the city of St. Petersburg. And to see that weighing on the people as well is different, because the type of spirit that comes with this kind of a loss or this kind of a challenge, I've never experienced here in St. Pete. It really reminds me of Katrina when it hit New Orleans. That's where I'm from, and my family was heavily impacted by that. But that's the reminder that it gives me.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you, Brother Dawood.
Yes, sir.
And that's up by dear Sister Brenda, Brother Kendrick. That's, you know, in view of Hurricane Helene and also Milton, we're talking about the physical and mental effects in the city of Clearwater. Then through y'all experience, y'all viewpoint.
I would definitely say that it was one heck of an experience. We probably left a bit of PTSD. And this is coming from, I'm from up north. So we've had the blizzards, we've had the freak snowstorms, but it really has never left a path of destruction like this. And I've been in Florida since 2007, but I was in the more like the Central Florida area. And I still, you know, with all the hurricanes and everything like that, it still wasn't a direct hit. You would mostly hear about it like in the coastal areas, like in Miami and places like that. This time, for one, is the first time that when a storm has hit that I've been more than a half an hour away from my elderly parents, because we're like 2.5 hours from them. Thank God they're okay, because they're in Central Florida and my other siblings are close by. But, you know, I was with Kendrick and our son, and I was calm on the outside. And Brother Kendrick asked me afterwards, he was like, you were really calm. I was like, I was calm on the outside, but I was a little bit shaken up, because even before the storm hit, like Sister Nayyirah was saying, there was a sense of foreboding in the air. The air was heavy. It was still. It was unlike any storm that I have ever experienced. With Helene, we were like, okay, it's heavy rain. So, but with Milton, I mean, everyone was predicting it like a storm, like Katrina. They had weathermen crying on the radio. I mean, I really thought, okay, well, Florida's going to be blown off the map. We were going to end up close to Cuba. I mean, I just really thought we were going to go underwater. And for Helene, we didn't board up or, sandbag, but for this one we did, and we were completely boarded up. So not only was the rain pounding, it just felt like we were cocooned, but not in a good way. We didn't know what we were going to see the following night. And that, the way the rain was, the way the wind was, and then the aftermath of the destruction. We were right outside the evacuation zone, but we were still up because that could have changed at any minute. We were very close to an evacuation zone, but it was because of the structure that we're in why we did not have to evacuate. But that could have changed at any moment. So we were all up and on the ready. So how it was the next day is we saw, a lot of branches and things like that by us. There's a big tree that went down, but no structural damage. But then down the street, there were lights out. It was like businesses closed for days afterwards. And then when we saw what was going on at Clearwater Beach, and then just to see the destruction everywhere and the fact that it's still like that, it's almost like a dystopian movie, the aftermath, and everyone else is just trying to get it together. And I know one of the questions I said to Brother Kendrick was, where are the homeless people going to go? Who's going to keep them safe? Because, there's a couple that we see all the time. And we've always been aware of the housing situation and how expensive it is, but it brought it clear into the focus, because I don't think enough was being done as far as the resources, but I don't know how that funding goes. And it just makes you more aware of the times that we're in, when you're little and you hear it, and your grandparents tell you, your parents tell it, and it's just very apparent now that I think something is coming. And we have to band together, and we have to strengthen our belief in Allah, and we have to go out and spread the message of Allah and what we should do, and do the practical preparation as well. And I think that's very, very important.
Praise be to Allah.
So
wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, dear sister, for sharing your viewpoint, your testimony.
You're welcome.
Alhamdulillah. Brother Kendrick, any additional notes on that?
Yes, sir. All praise be to Allah. I would add that because of, I was right during the preparation phase, I was more out. I was seeing the people preparing, getting the supplies and getting the gas. And then we have other sites that we have to check on and manage. So I was more so out, more than my wife. They remained kind of like sheltered in, but I was physically seeing the people and the energy and the spirit and how they were moving. So as everything was approaching Florida, as it got closer and closer and closer during Hurricane Helen, we had already decided, I think we was at a point where we decided that, because of the business that we do, we're like essential, necessary for responses, right? But most importantly, we have to also prepare for whatever is to happen. So for the physical thing that I saw, I did see a lot of people getting prepared, but it was more like a rush thing, because everything catches you off guard. So after Helen hit, and then I think I was resting, and then my wife comes into the room and she was like, we have another hurricane. By that time, it was Sunday, and the storm Milton was reported to be hitting Clearwater, and it was already a Category 5 at that time, hitting us on Tuesday, which was like 2 days away. So immediately during that process, I was receiving phone calls from many of the believers, like in Chicago, other areas, and they were highly concerned. And I was physically tired too, because I had been working long hours. And so, because of us managing the different things that we have to manage, it requires us to be, up a lot of times at night. So during Hurricane Milton, the community went into action like right away. So the boarding process of boarding up the homes, the businesses, a lot of people were moving very quickly and swiftly to do that. But then there was also a period in time, reality sets in, like, okay, well, this is going to be a Category 4, 5 hurricane by the time it comes to our area. What are we going to do? So with that in mind, I think one night, I think it was probably maybe Monday, I was resting. I got up and I woke got my wife up, and we immediately went into prayer. And it was a sense of calming at that point because, because of where we are in Clearwater, we're like 10 minutes from the water. And then you have the old Bay area. Like how she said, we're not necessarily in the evac zone, but however, we got water on the left and the right. So, and then the tide, how high they were projecting that the category 5 at that time was going to impact the area. We were close enough to an area where we can get in the vehicle to evac, or go to the roof of where we are. And inshallah, hope that, and pray that we were to survive. But at that point, after our prayers, we both I looked at her, she was calm on the outside. But then I saw that, okay, I felt that, we were getting phone calls from a lot of people. And at that time, we decided to stay. And we decided to, remain here. But then, it was at like, okay, well, it's going to be a category 5, Brother Kendrick.
Right.
So all praise be to Allah. We thank that we were able to survive, but I also believe that it was a blessing for us to be able to experience it, but also prepare, not only ourselves, our families, but the community too as well. So there's the after these hurricanes, what can we do as a group and as everybody have their skills and their talents, even with the community, because we're prepared, but however, a lot of people were not prepared. Right. So I just would like to say that, but there's a lot more I can say.
Right.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. We thank you, Brother Kendrick, and eventually most definitely going to get into your expertise and the details to help with the preventative measure and helping us out. We thank you for that report from Clearwater standpoint. Now we're going to come over to the home team right in Tampa, Brother Michael Shabazz. And you have a hands-on dealing with the insurance adjuster, and seeing some of the homes. And of course, right here, what happened with that hit that we took in Tampa from Helene, and also more so of Milton, but the back-to-back action. So if you could speak on from your viewpoint. You're on mute, dear brother. You're saying a lot of nothing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me say something then. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for having me on, family. Sister Starla, it's good to see your beautiful face, sister.
Thank you to Allah, my brother. Good to see you.
I hang with these other two brothers all the time. The other two brothers, I'm with them all the time. I see their face all the time. It's good to see your face. We have to say we thank Allah for his grace and mercy, because even with the devastation, the loss of life, it still could have been a lot worse in the Tampa Bay area, in the Central Florida area. Milton was not a direct hit, not to Tampa Bay and St. Petersburg and Clearwater. It hit us directly a little bit further south in Sarasota. But still, there was tremendous devastation. I think the last time that Tampa was hit directly, like head on, where the storm actually came straight through Central Florida, right through St. Petersburg, Clearwater, and Tampa, was about 50 years ago. And I think it was the storm that Sister Nayyirah described when she was a little girl. But it still caused tremendous damage. As a public insurance adjuster, the head public insurance adjuster for our firm, he said that we will be working on claims from this storm, this Hurricane Milton. For the next 6 months, we can go 24 hours a day working on this and still not get through all the claims that it will cause. And he also said that we probably can go a whole year working the claims just from the damage that was done from Milton And the only reason we would stop after a year, because after a year, you can no longer make claims, insurance claims on hurricane damage after a year, right? You after that point, you can no longer put in claims. So it was tremendously devastating. One of the things that really took us off guard is the tremendous amount of flooding. Most of the places where it flooded extreme were places that were considered no flood zone. They were not flood zones. And therefore, many businesses and homeowners did not have flood insurance, which is a separate insurance policy that you have to get. Most people don't get that unless they're in a flood zone. One of those folks, you right on time, Sister Sheila. One of those folks was us, right? Our mosque, where it was located, and here's a picture of the flooding where Muhammad Mosque 47, where we were located, was not a flood zone. The last time that anything flooded in that area was maybe 30 or 35 years ago. So there were a tremendous amount of homeowners and business owners that were caught off guard. And unfortunately, many, in particular homeowners, are left with the bag, so to say. Now their home is damaged, but many times they don't have any money to fix their homes. So even now we're starting to see people selling their homes because they can't fix them because they didn't have flood insurance. Along with that is the tremendous devastation from, there were about 40 or 50 tornadoes that came in and just completely obliterated houses. More of that occurred just slightly south of Tampa in the Sarasota area and south of us. But it literally looked like someone took homes. If you could take a house and crush it in your hand and then just sprinkle it on the ground, that's what it looked like when some of these tornadoes grabbed some of these homes. In particular, I mean, any people that lived in mobile home parks, I mean, those communities were completely flooded and obliterated. I mean, completely thrown around during this time. Given all of that, we still were very, very fortunate. You know, when you look like at areas of like North and South Carolina, where the complete landscape of the state was changed, completely changed, we are still very foreign. I thank Allah for His grace and mercy. And we're going to be rebuilding in this area for quite a long time.
Yeah. Praise be to Allah. Thank you, Brother Michael, for sharing that. You know, and one of the things that you saying before I turn it over to Sister Stala, if you don't mind, you know, like even, you know, the experience at the mosque, you know, we got the news that it was 1.5 feet of water inside of the building. And, you know, so we had to go there, take stuff out, take a lot of personal items, a lot, you know, from our podium that we speak from, the microphone, speaker. So a lot of things, you know, and it was very sentimental, you know, when you think about it, because there's a big dumpster and we going to clean out the mosque. And, you know, and then we was out of a building as far as to go to for a while. And, you know, just basically had no house of worship for a while and couldn't go to spots because of the flooding and everything like that. Traffic lights was out. It was hard to get gas. People fighting at gas station. They had to have police escorts, you know, at the gas station. There was police. Yeah. Police was there. So it was something else. You know, so just think we are, by Allah's grace, going to the first Sunday meeting since the last first Sunday meeting of last month on the 6th, I believe. And now we're going back to our first Sunday meeting again tomorrow. That's how long we've been out from a Sunday meeting. Right. You know, so we had to, you know, stop before the storm to prepare and also after it, you know, so we took a hit, but we're so thankful to Allah and how the topic of discussion, just seeking assistance through patience and prayer.
Yes,
You know, believers' faith didn't waver. We're about to be in the community tomorrow, you know, and, you know, as a temporary spot, but a great community. And by Allah's grace, is the community that I grew up in, coming straight from the hospital to be in the community of Progress Village. So we're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
We stayed on, we did, you know, Zoom meetings. We did prayer calls. You know, we've been on top of it. And we want to, once again, as Brother Kendrick mentioned, you know, just to thank all of those who had called us, who text us, who asked how we doing in this area. Do we need anything, checking on us? So from student regional ministers, and most definitely our student minister, Brother Patrick Muhammad, was all over it for us and making sure that we were safe in this region and helping, giving us direction. And student minister Ishmael reached out on our ministry call and talked about it also, you know. So we thank all of the believers, you know, that was just reaching out to us. And that's how we most definitely wanted to be on here, to give an update and also to give assistance, how we can help for preventative measures, as we can't fully stop and see, you know, how these things are coming in the directions they may turn at the last minute. But it is some things that we can help out with the expertise of our guests that we have on here. So thank you, family.
If you don't mind, I'd like to ask Brother Michael a question, dear brother, regarding the assistance that is supposed to come from FEMA and other agencies. Now, from a personal experience, you know, I called FEMA and spoke with one of its agents. And sadly, dear brother, they asked me, "Are you reporting damage from Milton?" And I said, "Well, yes." And she told me, "Milton is not even on our radar. We're still dealing with Helena, is it? Was it?
Helene.
Yeah.
Yes.
She said, and President Biden, she said, had not signed off on Milton as being a disaster. And until that happens, FEMA is handcuffed to do anything in terms of offering help to those who suffered as a result of FEMA. I mean, as a result of Milton. And so this theme that we have taken under the inspiration of Brother Student Minister Chad Muhammad, seek assistance through patience and prayer, is a proper thing, because it's going to take prayer, definitely, and patience, of course, to get through. And what we want our viewing and listening audience to understand is, yes, there is a combination of natural forces that are causing these kinds of severe weather conditions. But at the root of these weather conditions is, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan says, is you and I, and the injustice we have suffered and the unwillingness of America to do justice by us as Black people here in America. And so I'll just close my statement by reading from this book, Fall of America, because I don't want us to take our minds while we are preparing, because the hurricane season is not over here in this area. But we want us to know the root from which all of this springs. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad writes in this profound book, Fall of America, on page 149, "Woe to America. Her day has arrived. She would not heed the warning. I begged her to let us be separated from her on a little territory and a state to ourselves, to let us be responsible for our own survival, only to get out from under her injustice. But she refused. So it was with Pharaoh in the time of Moses. God went down to Egypt to make Israel and her enemies, the Egyptians, an example for the future people, so that this may serve as a sign of what we see going on in America today. He continues, the 4 great judgments that Allah God promises to destroy America with are now coming upon her. Hail, snow, drought, earthquakes. Allah God has reserved his treasures of snow and ice to be used against the wicked country America in the day of battle and war. These are some of Allah God's weapons, storms that we see going on. And so we want us to keep in mind, brothers and sisters, that this is a divine source. They can say it's a conflagration or a combination of weather conditions, natural conditions, but at the root of these storms, which are going to continue, is America's injustice to us as a people. And so I say, and again, I add with that, when I called FEMA, and of course, supporting Brother Michael's statement that we're going to be 6 months out in dealing with claims. Well, as they told me, that Milton is not even on their radar, and that President Biden has not even signed off on Milton as a disaster. And until such time happens, no aid will be coming from FEMA, because they're waiting for President Biden to sign off. Brothers and sisters, we have arrived at a very serious time, and I want to just underscore, along with, of course, the preparatory work that must be done in anticipation of these storms. Don't go to sleep. Those of us who were blessed to get through it, and with some of us have been blessed to get through it with minimal damage, but that is just a lull before the storm. Don't go to sleep. Start your preparation now while the store's shelves are filled and before they empty out.
Yes, sir.
And make sure we take our necessary precautions. I learned a great deal of what I didn't have, nor did I prepare for in this storm, Milton, that I will certainly, inshallah, God willing, be prepared for the next one. But remember, particularly Floridians, we are not out of the woods. Brother Michael, do you know the official time that the hurricane season is supposed to end?
It's the 30th, supposed to be, right? November 30th.
November 30th. So we have a whole month to anticipate other Miltons.
Dang.
Now that's something to consider. Just want to put that on our minds.
Wow.
So let's get busy preparing. Thank you for allowing me to say those words, Student Minister Chad, Sister Stala, and our esteemed guests. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, sir.
We have a question for our guests from Student Minister Tony Muhammad in Miami. I'll place his question on the screen. Assalamu alaikum, family. If the panel can respond to the following scripture in reflection of your experience. In the book of Nahum 1:7, it reads, "The Lord is good, a refuge in times of trouble. He cares for those who trust in him." So we will start, inshallah, this time we will start in the opposite order if we did the first question. So Brother Michael, if you would like to answer that, reflecting on that scripture with what you and your family experienced.
Absolutely. It makes me really, Student Minister James' last comment and our brother Tony's question are connected in as far as how are we prepared, right? And we have been given instruction by Allah through the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and continues through the honorable Mrs. Farrakhan, and how to prepare, right? What food to store up, how much water we should have, right? And then we have been prepared with our national defense team on a national level, what we should have in our survival pack, right? And we should constantly be using modern technology to upgrade that. Getting into solar, right? One of the things that we all look at, just like Student Minister James said, upgrading our survival kit, our emergency supplies. And I was right after that hurricane hit, I started looking at solar panels. Currently, right now, I use battery powered and a alternator to power up my refrigerator, cell phone, and other devices. It's basically what I created, what I put together using deep cycle batteries. But now I'm looking at upgrading that using solar, and looking at some advantages of solar, because even batteries run out, even really strong ones run out. But that sun, it will run out eventually, but will be long gone by the time that does. But really looking at, how Allah has given us the knowledge how to prepare during this time, and heeding that call and upgrading our survival pack.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Michael. Brother Kendrick and Sister Brenda, would you like to comment on that scripture?
So where it says the Lord is good, a refuge in times of trouble, he cares for those who trust in him. We are believers and we believe in Allah, and we know that Allah is going to protect us, but Allah also imparts common sense upon us. That means we can't go out into the storm with no preparation and think that we're going to be okay. Piggybacking off of what Brother Michael said, is that after this particular storm that just passed, we've started to look at different things that we can utilize, because like you said, the solar might run out, but like cell phone batteries that can charge, the external batteries. But Brother Kendrick and I were also talking about satellite radios, because in the event that the towers go down, which, I mean, it can happen. We've had times, I'm sure everyone has noticed, that you get those messages that say, 911 is out, blah, 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 they're working on the towers. But in the event of something like that happening in a storm sense for a longer period of time, satellite radios would be the way to go, because then you'll still be able to keep in touch with people. Also, it's been said that AM radios, the AM frequency of the radios, is where we will have to get our news in the event of the main communications going down. I believe in interdependence amongst people. I think that we should start working on some type of interdependent help within the mosque and within the community. There's sometimes that someone can't get something. Hey, we could be like, hey, we're going to Costco. Do you need something? And start putting it away bit by bit by bit, so that we are not having to go out in the midst of chaos. Because those are the times when it's not good to be out, rushing for gas and things. I mean, people were going on like it literally was Armageddon. So we all know, like I said, Allah is good. He's great. He's wonderful. And he does protect us. He protects us. He loves us. He embraces us in times of trouble. And he cares for those who trust in him. Like I said, we trust in him. So now is the time, with the trust and the knowledge that he is imparting on us, with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is imparting on us, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is imparting on us, that was brought down by Master Farad Muhammad. We could sit there and utilize all of that information now and keep ourselves safe, keep our families safe, continue our lineage so that we don't have to be a part and succumb to the chaos that will eventually come, because the times are right in front of us. Anyone to deny it is being blind. And we are not blind people. We are not, the believers are not blind. And we shall not behave as if we are.
Go ahead.
Brother Kendrick?
Yes, ma'am. From the vantage point of a security, just like my wife said, as it relates to communication. Communication is one of the main things that the enemy usually takes down when there is a war. And communication to each and every one of us is important, especially, within our families and those who are outside of the state of Florida. As it relates to this particular scripture, my view and understanding of it is, just like my wife said, we put all of our trust in God, but also at the same time, we also have to prepare. We also must help our people, in the community too, as well. So what I see of how we can offer our skills and our talents and pull those things together in a concerted effort, with other organizations, other individuals that could offer some relief, which I've received many phone calls from volunteer ministers in Clearwater, Florida. They were asking for manpower. They were asking for people with trucks, box trucks. They were asking for resources because they were receiving phone calls from Pinellas County management. They were getting over 3,000 phone calls. I don't have the exact actual fact on the number, but the number exceeded the amount of calls that they were getting. So from logistics, from security viewpoint, there are ways that we could prepare ourselves as it relates to communication. There are radios, like my wife mentioned, that we could help our people get access to and be able to have those in our survival kit. So we encourage everyone, even those who are a part of the church, organizations, we need to pull our resources together and be in a concerted effort because, they shut the water off in St. Pete. The water was shut off right before the storm. And then they couldn't turn it back on after that. I think I communicated and posted that online. They couldn't believe. One person was fact checking me on that, but I witnessed the mayor state that they were going to shut the water off. So with water, we can't do any laundry, you can't do anything else. You can't take bath, you can't, you can't put water on wounds. So these types of things, I believe, the purpose of why we are having this is to not only just go over what happened, but also to go over the things that we can do as a mosque, as a group, and our skills that we have here on this panel. We need project managers, people that could know how to get access to shiploads of water, shiploads of different many types of things that we need to have access to. But basically, we got to operate in common sense. That no one is going to come to our aid. We have to be able to come to the aid of one another and rely on one another for what we need.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And Brother Daoud and Sister Nayyirah, would you like to weigh in as well?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. I'm going to say something because I need to be excused. And I want to thank everyone that came before me and said what they said. And I just want to say, in addition, what came to my mind as it relates to this direct question from the scripture, per my experience, is John 16, verse 7. Nevertheless, I tell you the truth. It is expedient for you that I go away. For if I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. But if I depart from you, but if I depart, I will send him unto you. We have already experienced a departure with the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And the comforter that we have been given is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. That's right. He is a comforter, he's a guide, he is a warner. And I truly believe with this particular hurricane, the prayers of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan saved us from the clutches of death. Mm. I experienced COVID, which to me was the first disaster that we experienced. And the people, all of us, had to experience shelter in place.
Right.
What took place during COVID was the people's minds, emotionally, spiritually. So when I think of disaster preparedness, yes, we have to get ready physically, but are we ready mentally? Are we ready emotionally? Are we ready spiritually? During this particular storm, Brother Student Minister Chad and Brother Student Minister James, what I've witnessed is, along with COVID, is that what is being sent out to the people is people that deal with loss therapy. They're sending therapists out to help people to emotionally recover. Well, I'm grateful and I trust in the Lord. He cares for us. Minister Farrakhan, who's seen beyond 2011 up until this point that we was going to be affected mentally, and gave us a technology to help us to get through the mental trauma that we are experiencing emotionally, that we can now be able to come out of that to be the saviors that we was called to be.
Right.
So that as the people are going through it, we have enough fortitude, enough sanity. Allah does not change a condition of a people until the people change our own condition. And we can't keep leaning to the enemy to take care of us when it comes to our mental health, especially when Minister Farrakhan has already given us something. We're spiritual physicians. So when I think of disaster preparedness, I think of how can I prepare not just myself, how can I prepare not just my family, not just my community, not just my nation, but can I add value to the people who are looking for a way out of their mental and emotional trauma as it relates to these storms and the whole totality of the fall of America. So I trust in the Lord. I trust in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and what he has given to us to escape what we have to go through and fortify ourselves energetically, spiritually, and most of all, mentally. We're facing not just chaos, but the insanity that's within the chaos. And we got to be prepared. So that's what I would say. So yes, the Lord is good. He gave us a comforter in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan during these times of troubles. So let's just keep going.
Yes.
And be prepared. Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah.
Brother Dawood, did you have any comments you would like to add, sir?
I concur with what my wife said.
Smart man.
No. But just real quick, if you could put the question back up, Sister Starla, what I would like to highlight, the way that I saw that scripture and the way that it presented itself to me is if you read it backwards. It says he cares for those who trust him, who trust in him. A refuge in times of trouble. The Lord is good.
Yes.
The reason why it came to me that way is because, to me, trust can only take place through experience. Right? That's how trust can develop. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And with that experience helps us to develop strength or a stronger degree of trust to run to him as a refuge. But we can only do that if we see him as good. To me, it starts mental, because the person can only come to see the Lord being good if we can see mentally, right, that literally it's rational for us to see that there is a refuge for us to run to, right? If we can only think with that, and or see the Lord as good. What I'm saying is, there's a lot of irrational behavior that happens, especially in times of trouble. A lot of times we can't think our way through things. Even if we do have resources, we can't think our way through things. So for me, it is definitely a time for us to seek refuge in the Lord and know that he is good through our experience. But if our experience has been irrational in terms of our own thinking or applying whatever it is that we may know as an irrational experience, then we in for a run for our money. There's no way we're going to get through it if we are only able to respond irrationally.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sir.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful. I know, Sister Sheila, we have some pictures also, of the Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg. And this is like a known picture that they have shown. And also, as we see here, and Brother Dawood, that's in y'all backyard right there. I never forget, Brother Dawood, in the early days when y'all first came into Islam, right there, we would have to come into Tampa when we was coming to St. Pete, and we'll pass by that every time we go, to the study group, like in the late 90s. And, that's how we know we're getting real close then when we pass by that Tropicana Field.
That's right.
To see it like that, how would you say it affected the city, to see the visual of that, to see it on the news, the newspaper and everything like that? How has it been in the city?
Yes, sir. I think when you see a big edifice like that,
right,
that it messes with your hope for safety.
Yes.
I think that the people saw it as, okay, a lot of times too, big places like this, and as a matter of fact, they shared it in the video of Tropicana Field, that it was supposed to be a shelter,
Right,
right,
for the emergency workers to go to.
Right.
So, it just says, when Allah touches a thing, ain't nothing safe.
That's right. That's
And if it's your time, it's your time.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Praise be to Allah. That is true indeed. Thank you, dear brother.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I hope I answered the question.
Absolutely. Yes. We thank you. I share this. I know in Tampa, when the news was on and preparing us for Milton coming, and when we was told to evacuate, I never forget, our mayor, Jane Castor, said that if you choose to stay in one of those evacuation areas, you will die.
Yeah.
That's that I quote. She said, "You will die."
Yes, sir.
She said. That's exactly what she said.
She said it. I said, it wasn't playing around in this area, so it was a happy time. That's right. Praise be to Allah. I turn it back over to you, Sister Stala. Any other thing that you would like to share, questions to ask?
Yes, sir. Thank you. You know, of course, it was brought up the divine guidance that we have received from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and the importance of heeding their warning and preparing for times such as these. So when I think of a hurricane, you not only have to prepare your physical dwelling, your home, and we're taught, of course, in our MGT class, the importance of canning, having enough food, water, first aid supplies, etc., for us to have in our home. But like you just mentioned, Brother Chad, what if we get the call, well, you can't stay in your home. So now we can't put those jars that we canned in a go bag and go. So we also have to prepare to be able to evacuate. So I wanted to ask Brother Daoud, and then if Sister Brenda and Brother Kendrick are still available, if they can talk about, you know, in this particular circumstance, you know, preparing for both of those possibilities, that we may have to hunker down and we stay here, or if we get the word, no, you better leave, you know, do we have what we need to go? So can you talk about the importance of having to prepare for both of those possibilities?
Well, I know that we had definitely prepared. You know, we had stuff for here where we were and everything. And remember, we were like, if we were watching, like if things changed. And, you know, we really didn't want to go to sleep because we didn't want to get up and just be in the midst of a Noah's Ark situation. And so I think it was at one point you were saying, okay, let's just throw up some things in the bag in case we need to leave. And it was just so much going on because we also had just gotten a dog. And so
security dog.
But we were just, you know, it's different when you're saying, okay, you know, we got it, you know, we're humans. But then it's a matter of, oh man, we also have to make sure it's a place where we can have a dog, because all the times before in years past, when you've seen things like that, people are like, no, I'm not going to leave my dog. So now we were put in that very situation. And we had to take, it was like that Monday, we had an appointment for her to get the second series of her vaccinations. And it was a really good thing that we did, because if we had to go to a shelter or wherever, they would not have allowed us to bring her if she didn't have those updated shots. And we had to also get something that registers her for Pinellas County. So we literally had to make moves. And during Hurricane Helene, we had always felt that if we had to do that, we would drive up Highway 19 to my mother-in-law's, his mom, in Georgia, Valdosta, Georgia. Well, Hurricane Helene decimated there. Right. So now we had to change our whole idea of where we would go. And we just figured we would just have to go higher ground, you know, flag or something like that, because we just really did not know what we would have to do. And at least we knew that flag can withstand category 5 winds. So we were like, okay, there's, you know, if anything happens to us there, then we were just meant to go to the upper room. I mean, it was just at that point, you just have to come to that conclusion and to say we've done all that we can do. And that's all that anyone can ask us. You know, Allah asked to trust in him, which we did. And that's exactly what we did. We said, okay, if we have what we need, if we stay here, if we have to go, we just have to go. But at least we had a plan. And anything outside of that, we know we've done it and we fought the good fight.
Yes, ma'am.
Praise be to Allah.
Yes. Did anyone else want to weigh in on that? Oh, what I was asking, Brother Kendrick, is the importance of preparing for, if you have to hunker down and stay, making sure that your dwelling is prepared. But if you get that call, hey, everybody has to evacuate, you know, having your go bag or your to-go bag. So the importance of, you know, having to prepare for maybe those dual realities that you may be facing.
I think what's important to mention here in this conversation is economically, you know, a lot of people were already in a hardship financially. So, but then also people were like, okay, well, if I leave, where am I going to go?
Yeah.
So, fortunately, by the grace and mercy of Almighty God Allah, we were not experiencing a hardship financially. So, but a lot of people are and still are, and then even after the storm, they're even are in a more worse situation than that they currently were before the storm.
Right.
A lot of things got lost, personal items, relatives, documents, these things of that nature. However, whenever there is a emergency management call put out, we should use common sense. However, we decided to stay because of the responsibilities that we have locally.
Right.
However, we did prepare.
And just in case.
We prepared. I prepared my wife and our son. I told them, I say, hey, I'll position the vehicle to, if their wind gets at a certain amount of speed, we could leave.
Right.
And then also have prepared them because we have access to like a area where we can go to the roof. So we made mental preparation for this as well, but also we just also have to know that locally, just like our student minister mentioned, when the call went out through management, they were like, well, if you stay, you better write on your arm the name, your name, so that we can identify you. It got really serious at a point. And I think when we were watching it, I tuned into the emergency management dispatch calls, and I was listening to them through the app, and I also was listening to the local news through the app too as well, because at a certain point, communication was breaking up, even online on social media. Mm-hmm. But where we are, we are fortunate to still have lights and communication, but we were still able to communicate to outside of our area. But what I did notice was outside of this area, outside of the state of Florida, a lot of people was not really aware of how it was on the ground.
Yeah.
So basically, long story is that whenever there is a emergency management call that goes out, it's best to leave, especially if you are in an evacuation zone. We were fortunate not to be in the zone, but however, as I said earlier, we said our prayers, and there was a moment where we were like, okay, where are we going to stay? But then we got the phone calls. Hey, Brother Kendrick, there is going to be a Category 5, and you are in the eye of the storm. Are you going to leave? And if you need to leave, you have our assistance and you have our support. Just let us know where you're going.
Right.
You don't have to tell us exactly where you're going, but just let us know where you're going, and we'll support you in your evacuation.
Right.
Unfortunately and fortunately, a lot of people are still recovering. However, whenever there's a loss, there's also a gain. We learn from the experience, and then we know how to prepare ourselves going forward. We're thankful to Almighty God Allah that we were able to experience what we experienced.
Right.
But inshallah, we could plan accordingly to the instructions that we have been given. Then we also sheltered in place after the storm, because there were a lot of businesses that were not open when the storm came. A lot of the lights were out,
right,
and it was not safe to be out,
even be wandering around, because people were desperate. People, a lot of people were desperate from a security standpoint, and being in hyper survival mode. You don't even know, like sometimes we can approach someone and be kind and everything like that, but when they're in hyper survival mode, you don't know what response you're going to get. So a couple of days after this storm, we chose not to go around and, like we say, disaster sightsee, as some people do. That was not, we didn't feel that was going to be the safest thing. We just chose to hunker down and just make sure that everything else and all of our loved ones and friends were okay.
And thank you, brother and sister. Listen, I want to also relate to you an experience that I had, that this is the first time I really experienced like something like this. Now, Publix, of course, those of you who are Floridians, if you will, are familiar with the grocery chain Publix, a very popular and prominent grocery chain. Well, when my wife and I went to Publix, for the first time, there was a long line outside of the door, and we were wondering, well, what are they lined up for? You know, and the power in Publix, the Publix that we went to, had gone out, and they were operating on a generator.
Wow.
And the line was comprised of those people who had cash, and they made the announcement: if you don't have cash, don't bother.
Yep.
So what I want to emphasize is prepare, have some money.
Yep.
As you know, as invaluable the money is becoming, and devalued the money is becoming, we better have some. Because they weren't taking credit cards, the ATMs weren't working, and they were only taking cash. And that was, wow, I said, that's the first time I've ever experienced that. And as far as health is concerned, I asked them, you know, was their blood pressure machine working? And they heavily said, no, it's not working. So, I mean, I don't know what kind of condition the pharmacy was in, but for health reasons, we just got to be on top of everything. You know what I'm saying, brothers and sisters?
Yes, sir.
Make sure we have a stash of cash, and make sure whatever medicinal needs we have are satisfied, that we have whatever medicines that we need to have. We got to be in the right shape. And see, the thing about it is, we've had these teachings for many, many years, for decades, where the Honorable Elijah Muhammad warned us of a day like this coming. You see? So since we have foreknowledge, again, I reiterate, since we have foreknowledge of what is to come, and most definitely will come, let us prepare. Let us not be caught unprepared or unaware. We have this knowledge from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, particularly once again in this book, Fall of America. This, and if you don't have this book, I'm talking now to those of you in our viewing and listening audience. If you don't have this book, you most certainly need to get it. Go to finalcallstore.com. I think that's the address, and order it. It's also on Amazon. Get this book so that we will be prepared in knowledge as to what we can expect. Again, remember, until America does justice by us. And I know we don't think much of ourselves, but the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, we are the reason why America will be destroyed. That we're the reason why she's being judged is because of her injustice done, particularly to us, but to the indigenous people also throughout the world. So let's be prepared. We know what's coming. Without a doubt, let's make sure we are prepared. Again, with cash, we definitely have to have some cash. That's the first time I've experienced that. To see a line out of, as popular as Publix is, that's the first time I've ever experienced that. And to be rejected because you don't have cash.
Right.
You know.
Wow.
Extremely important, brothers and sisters.
Absolutely. Very good points, Mr. James. Absolutely. Before we go to the next question, I know, Brother Dawood, you didn't get a chance to chime in on what Sister Starla asked. So if you would like to, you know, concerning preparation and just, you know, having that to-go bag if needed and whatnot. So if you would like to, you could before we go to the next question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Actually, it just makes sense, to definitely be prepared in both ways, because it's important to yourself and anybody else that's involved in terms of saving your life. So if you are going to stay, be able to stay. Right. And if you are going to depart, then be able to depart comfortably, so that you can sustain, your life. It just makes sense.
Absolutely. Totally. Praise be to Allah. As we get ready, it's 8:41. As we get ready, as we come into a close soon, we like to, of course, keep it within 2 hours. That way we're able to replay it, in the broadcast if needed to share it with those later. One of the things I wanted, if y'all could share for our listening audience, from the business standpoint that you have and expertise, if y'all can share with the listening audience any advice that you would give, in hindsight of what we experienced, something that'll help us, as Mr. James talked about earlier, that we're still in this season of hurricane. Though, according to the scholars, we have more of the time where the biggest one hit us is over, but it's still open to November the 30th. So, and just in preparation of going forward through the business that you have, the skill set that you have, that'll help us with disaster preparedness and what we can potentially run into. If y'all would share with our listening audience, what is it that y'all have to offer, and to those that are listening. And this time I'll start with you, brother Dawood. Then we go to our sister and brother.
Yes, sir. So really quickly, if I may, Repair of the Black Family, we definitely offer coaching. One of the things that we certainly have to do is take care of our mental health. We have to be able to be sane, not just in disasters, but in this time, in this troubled time that we're living in, period. Not only is mental health a coin phrase currently that's just ringing throughout the earth right now, and I'm talking about on every continent, people are suffering from mental anxiety. I would definitely say the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has guided us to a technology, and not just in the next 30 days or for the next 30 days until the deadline, but start now, because now is always the time to prepare. Right. And I would say definitely avail ourselves to the technology of Dianetics, because we need that in this time. If we're talking about eradicating not just generational trauma, but sanity, to literally be able to think sanely, right, and not make irrational decisions about our lives.
Right.
We definitely and certainly need a technology to help us to do that. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in this time has guided us to that. I would definitely say avail ourselves to such technology. Yes, on the other hand, I would just say, from a practical perspective, we certainly need to just take in hand. Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I will talk about that in just a second.
That's right. Yeah.
But I would just say too, from a practical perspective, because we have experienced what we have experienced in this time, do all that we can. Like Brother Kendrick said, from an economic perspective, take some economic steps to, line our pockets to be able to buy what we need to buy and survive any storm that we need to, assist ourselves to go through. Yes. So the name of our business or company is called Repair of the Black Family. It's our mission, definitely our vision, to help repair the Black family. However, it is not just limited to Black people. We definitely do service all people. It's just Black people is certainly our focus. The other slide that you had up earlier, just a second ago, is the release of my wife's first workbook, which is a course. And that course is specific to women, healing on purpose. You'll definitely get, oh my God, it's so much lined out in that book, but it's in that workbook. But it's certainly something that you want to avail yourself to help you to not just heal on purpose, but to literally take a deeper dive and a more specific look at how we hurt, but more importantly, how we can heal.
Praise be to Allah. That royal purple, I love it.
Yes, thank you for putting that up.
Yeah, I'll put that thing together. That is very nice. It's official. Thank you, Brother Dawood, and we most definitely thank your wife. And we know of y'all work, of course, in this area. And when I tell you they traveling, they are travelers. They travel and they stay on the road.
Praise Allah.
Every time you look around, they're in the plane or something, or in the car, they're heading out. So may Allah continue to bless y'all with everything that you're doing and the efforts that y'all are doing it to help us and help us as a people and abroad.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And may Allah do the same for all of us that's on this show. And
yes, sir.
Bless the radio waves, the social media waves, and all of that for Closing the Gap, which was a podcast network. I thank you for allowing what you allow, which the vision that you have had, Brother Student Minister James and Brother Student Minister Chad, to, avail this opportunity to people to get the truth out, because that's definitely what we need, the truth. So may Allah continue to bless us all. I do apologize, but I do have to leave.
No problem.
Thank you again, Brother Dawood. Hopefully, before you start traveling again, we hope to see you, brother.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Praise be to Allah. And please thank Sister Nayyirah also.
Yes, please do.
Alhamdulillah. All right. So it's on you, Brother Sister Brenda, if y'all can, once again, the question just dealing with the business that you offer and how does it help in preparation for storms. We're still dealing with the hurricane season and just, preparedness, just helping us to be prepared. What do you have to offer, your skill set, and closing remarks? Yes,
sir.
Well, for starters, as Brother Dawood was saying, it's not just a matter of preparing for the physical storms. It's a matter of preparing for the spiritual, emotional, and mental storms, which is why I'm such an advocate for mental wellness. And I think that ever since we've gone through COVID, it seems like everything has been snowballing. And, of course, we're seeing things manifest a little bit quicker due to these physical storms. But I think that is where 4 years ago is where everything really kind of exploded. And we really got to witness the fall of mental wellness, on a global scale. With our company, 8C Autonomous Security Agency LLC at 8casa.org. We're not only offering security services because, of course, you want to be secured. Everyone, if your sense of security is shaken, of course, you're not, there's going to be heightened anxiety and along with everything that goes along with it. But we are partnering with those who offer things such as self-defense, such as disaster preparedness. And like student minister James had mentioned about, having that cash on hand. We want to be able to, when we do the disaster preparedness, give actionable steps for people to deal with these things. And in doing that, we also want to offer that mental wellness coaching. We want to offer the physical coaching, because as much as we don't like to face it, there are going to be times that you have to be able to defend your personal self. Exactly. I would love to sit there and say, no, that's never going to happen. But we all are seeing this in live and in color, that it does come to pass. So we want to be able to defend ourselves, defend our families, defend our loved ones, while remaining cognizant of everything that's going on and maintaining our mental wellness. We want to definitely utilize the tech that is offered by the church, L. Ron Hubbard, Dianetics, because there's a lot of healing that we have to do to fix generational trauma so that we can go forward. Because a lot of times we're acting out of things that we don't even know exist within our lives. If we can do that, so many things can be cleared up. I honestly think that if everyone was to take advantage of that technology that's available to us, a lot of the things that we're witnessing, we wouldn't even witness. And one of the things that I want to say, we know that social media can be used for good, but we also know there are those that are using it for nefarious purposes. We need to push out more shows like this, and we're very honored to be here, and thank you for inviting us. We need to push out shows like this so that people know there is a place to go, there is help out there, and we're not fear mongering, but we are definitely telling people to be prepared. Like the saying goes, trust in God, but don't leave your car unlocked. You know what I mean? You got it. It's common sense, sense, but we need to be prepared. We need to be prepared. And a lot of the preparation comes from our mental wellness, our mental well-being, because if our minds are not right, everything else is shaky. We can't even do anything. We can't even think about security or anything like that. So a lot of the things that I would like to do is come out into the community, get to know everyone, ask them what they really need.
Survey.
Survey them. Exactly. That was, it's funny because that's what my thesis was when I did my master's is, how can people be helped in their mental wellness? How can we put it on parity with your physical well-being? And if we find a way to do that, to get into the communities and find out how we could put together a lot of the fractured situations that are there and let people know that just because there's a fractured situation doesn't mean that they're less than, I think that we are going to be ahead of the game. Like Brother David and Sister Nayyirah, it's repair of the Black family, but it's also repair of the family, repair of the individuals. And once we utilize this technology, once we utilize what Allah is giving to us, and we show up in the person of Allah, show up in the person of love and light, then people will understand that the other things that people are pushing out that is less than is not the way to go. We have the power. We have the power to change so much. Like Dr. Seuss says, in one of the books, be the change you want to see in the world. We are going to be the change that we want to see in the world. And we're going to keep going until the world is never more. Is no more.
Praise be to him. Thank you, sister. Do a lot.
And Brother Chad, Sister Starla, we definitely going to have to go to our closing announcements. No disrespect, Brother Kendrick. We love to hear from you, dear brother. But I think your wife, Sister Brenda, represented extremely well.
Yes.
Thank you.
All praises due to Allah. So if we could get through the announcements, but Student Minister Chad, if you would lead us in the refuge prayer for all of us in the studio, and of course the broadcast studio and our viewing and listening audience. If we can do that very quickly, it'll only take a few seconds.
Yes.
Please lead us in this prayer, and then let's go right to our closing announcement.
Praise be to Allah. I will be honored. Prayer time, family. Oh Allah, we seek thy refuge from anxiety and grief. We seek thy refuge from lack of strength and laziness. We seek thy refuge from cowardice and ignorance. And we seek thy refuge for being overpowered by death and the oppression of man. Suffice for us what is lawful, to keep us away from that which is prohibited. And with thy grace make us free from what is beside thee. Amen.
Amen.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Great time. All right. Sister Starla's on you.
Brothers, yes, sir. Brothers and sisters, thank you once again for joining us for another edition of Closing the Gap. As always, please remember to visit www.finalcall.com. There you can take out a digital or print subscription to the Final Call newspaper on that very same website. If you click on store, it will take you to store.finalcall.com, where you can order books by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, messages from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and other student ministers in the Nation of Islam. So make sure you build your storehouse of knowledge. And last but not least, on that very same website, if you click on Final Call Radio, that's Final Call Radio, it will take you to where you can hear excerpts from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's various messages, as well as musical selections. That is, once again, Final Call Radio. And to you, Student Minister Chad, for your announcements.
Thank you, Sister Starling. For those that are tuning in, whether it's your very first, second, or third time, and you want to learn more about the Nation of Islam, we ask that you would join us at www.noi.org/join to fill out the digital form you see here to start that process. And we want to encourage everyone to go to your nearest study group and mosque to hear the latest lecture that is given from one of the ministers, the student ministers of the Nation of Islam. And if you're not able to make it to the nearest study group or the nearest mosque, then you can always tune in to our national headquarters, where there's a wonderful lecture that is going to be given from our dear brother, the assistant student minister to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, student minister Ishmael Muhammad, that is called The Survival of the Black Community, who of the presidential candidates can save the lives of the people of America, from the Wrath of God, Part 3. Thank you. I turn it back over to you, Student Minister James.
All praises due to Allah. Very quickly, for those of you who tuned in, we're thankful to Allah for your time and your attention. That's the greatest charity that you can give. For those of you who like to help us financially so that we can continue these important broadcasts, you can do so through Cash App, that is $CTG Broadcast, and by PayPal, jkingdom1@aol.com. And for those of you who use Zelle, that's Closing the Gap Broadcast, that's gmail.com. And we appreciate your continued support. Thank you, and may Allah God bless us all as we greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Praise be to Allah.
It's the price of Allah.